Hi, welcome to week 2. This is video 3. It is about LinkedIn, and I have one thing to say to you about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is life, y'all. LinkedIn is life. So before I get into trying to sell you on LinkedIn, I want to just, for those of you who don't know, I just want to tell you a little story about the bad old days. So there was actually a time in the corporate world where to build your network, you had to and I'm going to speak to women because I know most of you are women, right? So there was a time, ladies, when we used to have to get in our car, we used to have to get dressed up, put on pantyhose and heels, get in our cars, drive across town, meet a group of strangers. People we didn't know, in a hotel conference room, and we'd have to walk up to these strangers that we didn't know with a really horrible drink in our hand and hand them our business card and try to sell them on how great we were and try to sell them on networking with us. You guys can't see this right now, excuse me, but my cat, who's 23, is rubbing my leg. Go away, I'm talking. Sorry about that, guys. So those were the bad old days. I had to do, back in the day, I had to do that weekly. I had to join all these clubs. And you guys may not know this about me, but I'm actually an introvert. I am not feeling all that extra. I have times because I'm a corporate trainer and it's required for my job. And I do like it. I like to interact with people and I like to help people. But when I'm done, I'm done. And I don't want to have to be in a networking situation that I don't want to be in, right? So LinkedIn has changed the game. So let me tell you a little bit about LinkedIn and why it is life, okay? So LinkedIn is one of the only resources that allows you to increase your network with people that you would normally never meet, never knew who they were, didn't know who they worked for, what their interests are, what their interests were or what they did. Y'all, LinkedIn allows you to connect with these people, learn a little bit about them, and start building your professional network. Now that in alone should be enough to make you stop the video and say, okay, I'm all about LinkedIn, right? It also allows you, wait for this, it also allows you to create or increase your visibility with employers. People who might not ever see you, you can actually become a part of their personal network because LinkedIn just allows you to have it like that. All right? LinkedIn is amazing. It allows you to, while you're asleep, while you're at a movie with your husband or your kids, LinkedIn allows you to tell or communicate a bit more about you and your story to recruiters who might be looking for somebody like you. Y'all, back in the day, you didn't have that, right? Everything was personal. You had to cold call people, show up at people's offices. It was horrible. So I said all that to say LinkedIn is amazing. And it is something that you should absolutely be using. But one of the things that I want to make sure that you're clear about is that LinkedIn is not Facebook, y'all. Now, I know as teachers, a lot of you are not into social media, at all. Technically, I believe that LinkedIn is considered social media, but it's not Facebook. So LinkedIn is so not the place where you rant about how hard it is to be a teacher or it was to be a teacher. It is not a place where you rant about, your negative experience as you're moving into the corporate world and people ghosting you and employers ignoring you. It is not the place where you take pictures of your food and your grandkids and you post it now. I'm aware that people do that, but please don't be that one because LinkedIn was designed to help professionals connect around professional things, most specifically career and work. So I would recommend, regardless of what you're seeing from, some HR folks out there and some recruiters out there who are encouraging you to, speak your truth on LinkedIn. I'm going to encourage you strongly not to do that. And I'm telling you what I know from just past experience as a recruiter. And you may know this from your personal experience. Have you ever worked with somebody who was just like a nightmare? Like, oh my God. Like, it was the person who was super sensitive about everything, who didn't want to work with anybody. And if they did work with you, it was always like drama. They were always complaining about what they didn't get and who got what. Like, it is a nightmare, right? If you've ever worked with a person like that, then you understand where hiring managers are coming from when they would rather completely do without anybody than hire that person, right? So you don't want to be that person on LinkedIn where you're like complaining and you know, being inappropriate, because that is just a signal to them that you're one of those kind of people. I think I've gone off on a rant, guys. I am so sorry. I feel really strongly about that because I do see recruiters and hiring managers encouraging people to share their experience, and LinkedIn is just not the place. So let me stop, because clearly I can and will continue to rant about that if I don't stop. So let's talk about LinkedIn and how you can use it. So there are so many ways, guys, that you can use LinkedIn, but I want to give you 3 just basic things that you need to do to get up and running. And I know that you haven't done it because I have been kind of peeking at some of your profiles, and it's clear to me that many of you are not like using LinkedIn at all. All right. So I know that you've been told, you know, you need to get on LinkedIn and post 2 or 3 times a day and comment and do all this and that. You don't. There are just some basic things that you need to do, and I'm going to give you those 3 basic things. So the first thing you need to do is get your profile together. And I'm going to walk you through like the basic 3 or 4 things that you need to do to just get that started. The second thing that you need to do is get your connection numbers up, because it increases your visibility. And if you can get recruiters in your first or second level connections, that means that you're in their personal network. And when they do searches, they a lot of times start with their personal network. So you need to be in there. Okay. And then the third thing is that you need to do is just get used to networking on LinkedIn and reaching out to people who can help you get a job either today or tomorrow. And believe me, in the corporate world, tomorrow might come sooner than you think. So please, please, please consider doing those 3 things to get you started with LinkedIn. So we've talked about connections, I think, last week. We talked about networking last week. I wanted to make sure that you got your connections up to 500. And I also gave you like some basic things that you could do to start networking. So let's focus on the profile, and we're not going to go all the way through the profile because quite frankly, we don't have time for that. But there are just some simple things that you need to do that I'm not seeing many of you do. So let's talk about the profile. Let's talk about the headshot. If you don't have one, get one. Make sure that it shows your face clearly. Make sure that you are dressed appropriately, right? Just a basic blouse or shirt. Make sure that it's a great color. Make sure that the background on your photo is not somebody twerking. I know that's being a little ridiculous, but just make sure that the background in your headshot is not distracting, and that your photo is well lit and that they can see your face. The second thing that I want you to really get together is your headline. So when a recruiter does a search, they will see your headshot and they will see your headline, which is right below your headshot. So below in the notes, I am going to give you a formula for how to put your headline together, and I'm going to give you also an example of what it should look like. The other thing that I wanted you to know about that, and I think I just lost my train of thought, headline. I said I was going to give you the formula, and the formula is, let me just talk you through it. Thank you. is 2 to 3 job titles plus 2 to 3 keywords plus a statement around how you can help potential employers. Now, there are many ways that you can do the headline, but that's just a really quick, easy way for you to get started. If you don't like it after you've done it, then of course you can edit it 24/7, right? So don't worry about spending hours and hours researching the perfect headline. You just want a headline that will allow a recruiter to search on and find your profile. And once they do, you want them to clearly be able to see, the skills that you have and kind of your attitude about what you can bring to the table, which is what that statement is about. All right. And then the last thing that I want you to focus on is, if you don't have that little green banner wrapped around your headshot that says, I think it says open to work, then I need you to look at your LinkedIn profile, click on that little piece of functionality under where your headline is, and it says open to. Click on open to and fill out all of those options, because one, it will allow a recruiter to see that you are open to positions. So that's number one. And it will allow you to communicate your preferences to that recruiter, which is really helpful to them. In turn, that means it's going to be helpful to you, right? So those are the 3 things that I'd like for you to go ahead and get started. Are there several other things that you need to be doing? Of course they are. Of course there are. But those 3 things are kind of like the emergency 911. If you haven't done it, please do it, get it done. The last kind of like bonus tip that I want to tell you about is your banner image behind your headshot. If it still is reflective of the one that LinkedIn just gives you, change it. So LinkedIn gives you a couple of options of what you can change that banner to. So you can use that in a pinch. I know many of you are teachers. I know many of you have been on Canva. You can literally go on Canva, type in LinkedIn banner. You can create your own, or you can use one of their templates. It takes, if you're really picky, it takes maybe 20-30 minutes. But if you've used Canva and you're pretty, Canva savvy, it can take you, literally 5 minutes to make a banner, and include in that banner, maybe just a statement about how you feel about the type of work that you want to do. All right. Or your favorite quote that kind of shares with an employer, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the type of work you do, that just kind of reflects a little bit more about who you are. So I said all that to say, LinkedIn is an amazing opportunity. Please take advantage of it. You are no longer in the age of having to drive to that, cold, cavernous, hotel conference room and shake hands with people. You can literally start reaching out to people online. Everybody's pretty comfortable with it, and I've kind of given you the steps that you need to do that. So with that said, I'm going to wrap up our 3rd and final video for week 2. In week 3, I'm going to cover best practices. There are just some things that you need to know about corporate job searching that will really help make you more competitive. And so I'm going to just spend all of our final week just kind of walking you through some of the things that you can do to really stand out. And I'm going to focus on making sure that there are things that I learned when I was a recruiter. Like, for instance, one of the things that people don't think about when they interview is the person who's doing the interview, and how monotonous and painful it can be to sit in a room or on Zoom for hours and just interview people, right? So I want to talk to you about how to use that knowledge to your advantage. So those are the type of things that we're going to talk about. You know, what do you do if you go to the interview and you're like me, and you have all this gray hair and it's clear that you're older and you're competing with people who are younger? Like, how are you going to make that work for you, right? So there are definitely some things that you can do to just really work it. And next week is going to be all about, you know, those best practices and things that you can do to strategically position yourself to succeed in the corporate job market. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm so excited that you came back this week. I can't wait to see you next week. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up and just say I will see you next week. Thank you.